Hello, welcome to this edition of Momentum. I'm your host, Robert Green, Associate Dean of the Bagley College of Engineering. I'm happy today to be joined in the studio by Miss Josie Guerry. Josie is the program coordinator for our Industrial and Systems Engineering program. Josie, welcome.
Thank you so much. It's good to be here.
Good to have you here. I've been trying to get you here for a while, so I'm glad we could get it done today. Your title is program coordinator, but I think most ISE students, Industrial and Systems Engineering students, think of you as advisor. That's part of what you do. What else do you do?
So a program coordinator is responsible for coordinating the degree programs for any of the disciplines. So within Industrial and Systems Engineering, what that means is I do advise students and then also work with scheduling, so helping to do some of the back end and paperwork behind putting classes on the books where they go. Also some recruiting, overrides, obviously the best part of the job, and other paperwork and things to process, basically anything that's needed to help students interface with the university.
So you're sort of the main point of contact for students in the department.
You could say that correctly, yes.
Yeah. So you and I have worked together. You've had several positions here on campus. We worked together for a long time. What is your favorite part of your job personally? What's the most rewarding?
It gets repeated over and over, but the best part is working with the students and advising. There's nothing better than, working with a student from when they join the department or come on campus to when they graduate and getting to hear what they're getting to do after graduation. So the interactions with the students is by far the best.
Yeah. Now, of course, you're a graduate of that program, but you're a graduate back when it was Industrial Engineering.
Indeed.
And we changed the name of the program or the department a couple of years ago to Industrial and Systems Engineering. And then most recently, we actually changed the name of the degree to
That's
Industrial
correct.
and Systems Engineering. What is the significance of adding "and systems" to the title?
So it does a couple of things. As you mentioned, our department name has been Industrial and Systems for a long time. The "and systems" just helps signal what Industrial and Systems Engineering really is. We're really dealing with systems and processes, and you don't get all of that from just industrial. But the other thing is, if students are looking for opportunities, it gives them some extra keywords on those searches. In making that change, we actually did not change the degree program. We were already an "and systems, so it is truly just the name, but just to unlock some of those additional opportunities for students and convey, what we really are.
Yeah, I know some schools have systems engineering as a major. So is it safe to say that they're essentially the same programs? Or?
They are very similar. ABET has different requirements for the different designations, so it does make a difference, but they're pretty close.
So after you got your degree, I don't know, 6 months ago?
Yeah, not long.
Not long ago at all. You actually worked as an industrial engineer for a while here in Mississippi. Tell us, what kind of work did you do? What was that like working as an IE?
So I worked in a manufacturing facility. I was in a leadership development program, so that was great to be able to see different parts of a facility. I went through supply chain, quality, spent a good amount of time in human resources, and then I went back to the supply chain / operations kind of area. So it was good to get to see what manufacturing in Mississippi looks like and get to see it from an industrial engineering standpoint, and then even more so from a systems standpoint to be able to see so many parts of the industry. So it was a great experience, and I'm glad I did it. I was there about 4 years.
Okay. So we've been hearing a lot about supply chain lately. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us a little, what is supply chain? What does that mean for someone who's not familiar with it?
So, supply chain is getting materials, parts, whatever you need, where you need it, when you need it. So I actually had 3 roles that were in supply chain when all was said and done. One was where I was working on the purchasing side of things. One, I was in our area machine shop and working with physically getting the parts, pulling the parts to when they needed to go. And the other, I was in the cell where they were building the parts, so again, kind of physically getting the parts where they needed to go and getting the right part assigned to the right product. So
Okay.
anything where you are getting something to where it needs to go, even from before it comes into the facility.
Okay. Sounds interesting.
It was definitely interesting.
Yeah. So what brought you back to Mississippi State?
So like I said, I spent 4 years there. They were great years, but in the course of that, I did kind of evaluate if this is what I wanted to do with the rest of my life, and decided that it was not, in fact, what I was called to do. And when I thought back over my time in undergrad and what really sparked excitement for me and was something I really wanted to spend time with, it was the time I spent mentoring other students,
Okay.
time I spent recruiting and talking to incoming students, and kind of those interactions with others. So that drew me back to Mississippi State. I started as an advisor, program coordinator in electrical and computer
Right.
engineering. So that was a great re-entry back to Mississippi State.
Yeah, and then of course you've done some work with our graduate and online programs, and
Yes.
now you're back with industrial and
Back home.
systems engineering. So you do talk to a lot of students, a lot of prospective students, and one of the questions I think you and I both get a lot is, well, I don't know exactly what I want to major in, or what is this major. What are some common reasons students tell you for why they're majoring in industrial and systems engineering? What attracts them to that major?
So a lot of times industrial and systems engineering is very broad. And so a lot of times we get students either who are not clear about how they want to apply engineering, or students who have some connection to the department, a family member or somebody who's come through. Industrial and systems engineering is about a process or a system, so students who know they want to do engineering, know they like math and science, are interested, it's a great way to get into a broad discipline. So yeah, that's mostly it's students who are still trying to figure out how to apply, which industrial and systems engineering is fantastic for, because you can apply it to anything
Yeah.
and everything.
Is it a discipline where students typically come in as a freshman, or is it one they discover once they get here and move into?
We are most definitely a discover once you get here discipline. We do have students come in as freshmen and sophomores, but primarily our enrollment is kind of flipped from other disciplines. So we have a much larger junior and senior class than we do freshman or sophomore. And it's just what you said, students get here, maybe they get into a program and start to kind of get into some of the classes and realize that it sounded good, but the application is not as much what they were looking for. And then they talk to their friends, and man, our best recruiters in industrial and systems engineering are our students, because you talk to your friend telling you how great their classes are and how much fun it is, and that inspires students to come and chat. And yeah, I would say probably 50% of our students come in after freshman year.
Okay. So you mentioned math and science, and that's obviously one reason students will do that. But to me, it seems like it's also a discipline that I don't want to say is the only one that has people skills. I think all engineers deal with people, but perhaps it deals more with people than some of the other engineering disciplines. Would you say that's true?
I mean, I think it is. I'm completely biased towards industrial and systems engineering, and I can be, upfront with that now that I work in the department. But yes, when you're looking at a system, you have to, be concerned about people. No system works without people. And so there is a focus on understanding that people aspect. There's some sides of engineering that specifically deal with people, but that is a very big part. Because again, we're looking at a process, so we're worried about business. That's something you don't hear explicitly in the degree programs of a lot of other engineering disciplines, and we do have some business courses because money matters too. But then also, we care about people, how you communicate. All of those things are important parts of a system.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about that business aspect, because you're right. I mean, all engineers are worried about economy and building things for the lowest cost, but I think industrial and systems engineers, they very much of a business focus, so much so that you all have a special program now for allow students to get a degree in engineering and business. Tell us about that.
So we have our standalone industrial and systems engineering degree, and then we have a dual degree, which is a double major, true double major. And you end up with an industrial and systems engineering degree and then a business administration degree as well. So you have 2 bachelors for the price of 1. Typically you assume a double major is going to take about an additional 2 years.
Yeah.
Because of 2 things. Because we do have business worked into our curriculum, but also because we care deeply about giving students these opportunities. The School of Business and the College of Engineering work together very closely. College of Business and College of Engineering work together very closely to work with the curriculum. And so it is an additional 15 hours to do that dual degree. So it's a 9-semester program for a student who comes in with no credit, but a degree, that's the same amount as a minor, really, an additional 15 hours. So it's a great opportunity for students.
Well, you mentioned minor. I know a lot of your students, well, a lot of engineering students, but a lot of industrial and systems engineering students in particular get a minor in math. How does that work?
So we have a lot of math in our degree program. Several IE classes are either cross-listed with the math department or the math department counts them towards their math minor. So that's the math department counts them towards the math minor, they're real math classes. But because of that, we have 1 elective course called our Math and Science elective that if students select differential equations for that, they have the math minor done. So it's baked into our curriculum. So a lot of our students do pursue that. I'd say around half of our students pursue that. You do have to get C's or better in all of those courses. Okay. So that's important to remember. I think with our dual degree program, our students can actually do a similar situation with the supply chain minor. And so that's our dual degree students like that they can get 2 majors and 2 minors kind of baked in based on selecting electives correctly.
We got about 30 seconds. Can you tell us real quick, where are some of the places our graduates go to work?
We have a lot of graduates who go to manufacturing within the Southeast, but you can do anything with industrial engineering. I'm doing it in a field that, although I work with industrial engineers, has nothing to do with industrial engineering. But Disney, Meta, Amazon, you name it, they're all options.
Oh, great. Well, thank you for taking the time and joining us today and telling us about industrial and systems engineering. I want to thank you for joining us on this episode of Momentum, and I look forward to talking to you next time.